Hi everyone, it's Beth, and today I'd like to talk to you about MetaMask, which is a Chrome extension used to access the Ethereum network. And more specifically, it lets you interact with the decentralized apps that are built on the Ethereum network. So before I get into this, let me remind you that I am not a financial advisor, so everything I say here is only my opinion. So please take the time, do your own due diligence, and then remember, never invest anything that you are unwilling to lose. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. Talk about MetaMask here. Let's start off with what MetaMask is. So MetaMask is an in-browser Ethereum wallet, and it's a Chrome extension, and it allows you to access dApps, decentralized apps that are built on the Ethereum network. So it is very useful, and it is a pretty convenient way to interact with dApps. You can use your hardware wallets and my Ether wallet or my crypto and send tokens, but if you want to actually interact with dApps, MetaMask lets you do that. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about what MetaMask is and then go over some of the security risks with using an in-browser Ethereum wallet. So MetaMask is one, Parity, which I've never used, is another wallet, another in-browser wallet. So there are just some security concerns if you are considering using an in-browser wallet. So first, let's just talk about what MetaMask is, which I really already did. So it's a Chrome extension. It is available for Chrome, it's an extension available for Chrome, Firefox, Opera, or it is native to the Brave browser, which is a spinoff of Google Chrome. But it's very interesting, the Brave browser, and it's really designed with blockchain in mind. So if you haven't checked out the Brave browser, that is also worth your time to look at. But here, MetaMask describes themselves as being a bridge that allows you to visit the distributed web of tomorrow in your browser today. It allows you to run Ethereum dApps right in your browser without running a full Ethereum node. MetaMask includes a security identity vault, providing a user interface to manage your identities on different sites and sign blockchain transactions. You can install MetaMask in Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and the new Brave browser. And if you're a developer, you can start developing with MetaMask today. So their mission is to make Ethereum as easy to use for as many people as possible. And I do think that the design here is very user-friendly, and it does allow people to switch between the Ethereum mainnet or some Ethereum test nets that are out there. And it allows you to interact with, say, CryptoKitties, which definitely took Ethereum by storm in December and really served as a huge challenge to the scaling of the Ethereum network. So it really, the people who work with MetaMask and the people behind CryptoKitties, they were working together to really help figure out how to, help with the scaling for the entire Ethereum network. So what I thought was interesting was that the person who created CryptoKitties, I believe this was him, but somebody involved with CryptoKitties, was talking about how when the DAO hack happened on the Ethereum network, it was such a serious thing because it was dealing with, something serious. So the idea here was that a simple game like CryptoKitties that doesn't have the same high stakes as something like the DAO would provide for an easier, more lighthearted way to kind of test the ability of the network to handle something that has so many blockchain transactions. So I think that it's very, very interesting. It's really brought about a lot of cooperative work between the developers and really has shown some of the strengths of the Ethereum network. So I think that's great. Now, let's kind of keep looking here. There is a video on how MetaMask works, but I've kind of talked about that is MetaMask. It allows you to bridge, the Ethereum network with your browser. So now, that being said, this does open you up to a fair amount of security issues because of the way that MetaMask is designed and the information that it broadcasts to everything, to every open tab that you have when you are using this extension. So the privacy policy is very interesting. There are a couple things that are very, very interesting here. So the information that they collect, as the type of extension that this is, you give them the most permissions that you can think of. And they say here that the permissions are necessary for the technical aspects of MetaMask, which I understand, but it also, so they are, by using the service, you are allowing them to collect information that they collect from you generally may include, which isn't even limited, so it's general here, but network information regarding your transactions. Your first wallet address created through MetaMask, the MetaMask plugin, becomes publicly known to us. They receive only the public address, and the address is sent to the server. They do not receive information from subsequent wallet creations through the service, which I think is an interesting bit of information where, maybe you could create a first wallet and then not really do anything with it, and then create another wallet in the vault. However, this is ultimately here I think the real risk is that when you are using MetaMask, your browser is broadcasting to every tab that you are a MetaMask user, which means you are an Ethereum user, an Ethereum holder. And, depending on whether or not you are using the main net or a test net, they can really kind of decide, how much of a target you might be. Somebody using a test net might be more likely to be a developer and have more crypto than someone who is using the main net. But all of this information is broadcast to every open tab that you have when you are signed in to MetaMask. So they are showing, if you are logged in to MetaMask, they are showing all of your information to every open tab, and that includes what transactions you have done. Basically, everything that's available on Etherscan is available because all of this information is broadcasted just by having MetaMask unlocked. So if you're going to use MetaMask, which there are some things out there like CryptoKitties, and there's another game that I'm actually going to be talking about tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. But these dApps, they use MetaMask, which is great because it allows you to interact with dApps. But the information that's out there and the way that it's broadcast, it does leave you a little more vulnerable. So if you're going to use this, I would definitely recommend that you always log out when you are not using MetaMask. The second you're done with it, log out. But even better than that, go into your extensions and disable it. Just because if it is disabled, then it's not going to be broadcasting that you are an Ethereum user. Even if you are logged out, it is still going to be showing up to everything that you are a MetaMask user, which means you probably hold crypto. So that is something that advertisers are certainly very interested in. So, whether it's just advertisers or people out there trying to conduct phishing schemes, you just want to keep yourself aware of what the situation is so that you can help protect yourself here in this crypto space. So, all right, continuing on here. They may receive network information as a result of the interaction with their service, and the service requires the highest level of browser permissions that could possibly lead to the procurement of more personal information. For information on how they use these permissions for a limited purpose and why it's necessary, that can be found in paragraph 3. And your interactions with the site are documented via Google Analytics, and that information is processed by Google. So something else to keep in mind. So the way that MetaMask uses your personal information Infura uses network information for purposes of maintaining blockchain services and therefore the operational infrastructure required to use the service. We become aware of the first public key created by virtue of the system design. All subsequent key creations remain anonymous. The public key we do receive is stored using data security and encryption. And then 3.3 here is as with nearly all interactions that take place on the World Wide Web, the servers may receive information by virtue of your interaction with them, including but not limited to IP addresses. So just a reminder, always use a VPN. Always use a VPN. So 3.4 here, our service requires full browser permissions that could potentially be used to access additional personal information. Such browser permissions are used for an extremely limited technical purpose for allowing the service to properly interact with your browser. No additional information is obtained beyond what is necessary to provide the service, and no information received is shared with any third party except those affiliated with MetaMask or as required for the provision of the service, which is Google. So MetaMask uses Google Analytics for purposes of monitoring web traffic, and any identifying information collected via Google Analytics is controlled by Google. So then next here, public blockchains provide transparency into transactions, and MetaMask is not responsible for preventing or managing information broadcasted on a blockchain. So, definitely read this. This is not that long. But I just really wanted to talk about both the benefits of being able to interact with these dApps, because that's really, that's what we're working towards here, is the application of these decentralized technologies and the ability to interact with these dApps is why people are launching these ICOs on the Ethereum network. So, this is a bridge that does allow you to do that. You just need to be aware of what the risks are when you choose to enable this extension on your browser. So let me just show you right now. First of all, MetaMask is pretty, they have a really pretty active Twitter page. They also are very active over here on GitHub. I mean, they are working on this daily. So this is definitely a very reputable service. There are scams out there. When you go to enable the Chrome extension, there are oftentimes fake ones there. So just make sure that you're always dealing with the right plugin, the right extension, because there are people out there who want your private key. They want to have your public key, private key pairing so that they can get access to your cryptos. And that is, I guess the most overt thing out there. There are also people out there who just want to know who crypto holders are. So, advertisers definitely want to have that information. So just something to think about. But I do think the people who are working at MetaMask, and Dan Finley was very, very helpful with, trying to deal with the CryptoKitties congestion crisis. And I think that one of the best things that happened with the CryptoKitties congestion crisis is that a bunch of developers came together to try to solve this scaling issue. And that is really, unique to the blockchain technology. This is not like regular capitalist enterprise where everybody's just out to have the biggest bottom line. There are developers here who are all working together to try to really bring us this distributed ledger technology and let us have blockchain and decentralized applications that work for the end user. So I think that, CryptoKitties as a way to test out the network, also the game I'm going to talk about tomorrow, is going to be another good test of what the system is able to sustain. So this is a pretty interesting article just about what happened with CryptoKitties. This is on Medium. So, it's very, very interesting though. And it really talked about how there was already a group of developers who had been working with the CryptoKitties implementation, who were already together when CryptoKitties launched and all of the, the crazy congestion happened. Let's see if it's on this one. Yeah. So here's the daily requests for, what was going on. And you can see, here's when CryptoKitties launched. It just went nuts how much, information needed to be processed over the blockchain. So some really interesting things actually came directly from having to deal with the CryptoKitties congestion. And one of those things was that MetaMask added an ability to resend a transaction and increase the gas that you wanted to pay for that transaction, because ultimately that's what was happening. People were broadcasting transactions, but the gas kept being reassessed because there was so much network congestion. So the miners were requiring more in order to prioritize your transaction. So they did go back and they actually, as a result of this, did add the ability to modify your gas price. So that is very, very interesting. So I just think that, CryptoKitties was a very interesting, result for an interesting example of a decentralized app here in the early days of crypto. So this is certainly very interesting. This article is very interesting. I'll put a link in the description box, but it, it really talks just about how the community came together and how a lot of Ethereum scaling can kind of come from dealing with these small issues if all of the developers, work together. So that's very cool. Okay, moving on. There's also an article that I found linked on the Twitter feed for MetaMask that is, what is MetaMask? How to send and receive Ether with it. This is on bitfalls.com. It is very interesting and a very good overview of how to use MetaMask. So I'm also going to link this in the description box for the video. But it really talks about some of the permissions, a lot of the setup, and how to go about adding this in if you want to use MetaMask. And then it does, show you how to change around your accounts, shows you how to change whether you want to be on the main net or in a test net. And it's a lot of valuable information here in this article. So I will link this also. That's on bitfalls.com. Also, there was a blog post from Bloom, which is, they do ID on the blockchain. And so they are very concerned with security over there at Bloom. So they are also running a dApp, and they were concerned with the what a site can see and how the using of an in-browser wallet for Ethereum and to access the dApps, how that does affect security. And so this article has a lot here about what the attack vectors are just by having MetaMask on as an extension that is enabled on your browser. So I will also link this, but this has links to ETH wallet security, which analyzed what goes on when you have MetaMask on your browser. So, there's 6 parts here, but I've really, I think, talked a lot about what the problem is and how you need to protect yourself. I'll link this in the description if you want to go and read the specifics of what the attack vectors are that are brought to your attention here in this article. But it is very, very interesting. And then over here, I just wanted to show you. So here is, I'm currently not using a Web3 client. Come back after I install MetaMask. So if I refresh this, because I have installed MetaMask, this is what it looks like once you have it installed, but your MetaMask is locked. So you can see that while they can't see what the balance is or what my transactions are, or even what my address is, they do see that I have, this is just a tab, and they can see just by my having MetaMask enabled on my browser that I am an ETH user. I'm a crypto holder. So, that is definitely something to be aware of. So then, if I were to log into my MetaMask, this would change, and it would show you what my balance is, and it would show you, a whole bunch of information about my Ethereum wallet. So that is just the moral of the story here today. Sorry, long story short here. If you're going to use MetaMask, then you just want to disable it when it's not in use, because this broadcasts information to every tab that you have open just by being an extension that's enabled in your browser. So if you're not using it, don't just log out, but go into your extensions and disable that extension. So, all right, that's going to do it for today. I hope that you found this video to be helpful. Again, I will be talking about something that uses MetaMask tomorrow, so I will show you a bit of MetaMask in action. But for today, I just wanted to go over what it is and what some of the risks are with using it. So again, I will have links to some of the articles that I talked about here today in the description box for the video. If you did like the video, then please do leave a like. And if you would like to see more from me, please subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comments section. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. I will see you next time.